Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, February 26th. Last week, if you tuned in, we heard Sean Flaming tell us all about the different white wines that we have here in our fabulous Wine Ambassador Wine of the Month Club. Sean, you told us you were going to fill us in on some of the reds or all of the reds, since this is your last Saturday.
I am going to do everything I possibly can to get all of the reds filled in today. I have some awesome stuff. I just got goosebumps. I'm super excited about this. I love a good red. So yes, I'm gonna do everything I can. So can I go? Here we go. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back over just a quick thing about the whites, because somebody asked me, they said I went through them too quickly. On the way you drink them, like what order you would drink them. So it's not super crucial, but if you want to do a tasting, this is how it would be. So you're going to start off with a Pinot Grigio. That's kind of the lightest, the easiest one to drink, right? Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris, Sauvignon Blanc, and then getting to a Chenin Blanc, Viognier, and then Chardonnay. And then once you're done with the whites, you can hit the rosés. All right. And then of course, before those whites, you have your sparklings. Sparklings would always be first, right? Okay. So that is the whites. Hopefully I said that slow enough. If not, go back and watch this recording. All right. So now moving on to the reds. This is huge. We have a ton of reds, and actually when I was doing this research and trying to put this all together, my mind is blown on actually how many reds we really do have. So it's pretty cool. You start drinking wines and they just kind of all mix together, really. So here we go. So I'm going to start off with the Pinot Noir. All right, this is a great grape. A lot of different things to it, which I love this. When I first started drinking wine, I wasn't a huge fan of Pinot Noir. Now I'm a big fan because of all the difference it has. So we're going to start off. We have actually a lot of Pinot Noir. So we have I'll start off with the Nile Eddy, right? That's a new one that just came out a little while ago. It's a 2019. And this is going to be a rich and full-bodied Pinot Noir. So what that means is you're going to get a lot of fruit coming at you. It's very fruit forward. It's going to have cherry flavors and something called finish. So finish is actually when you drink the wine, and then after you swallow it, how long it lasts in your mouth. And if you've never really experience that, next time you drink a wine, concentrate on that. Once you've swallowed the wine, think about what's in your mouth and how it feels and what you're tasting. And it actually is really interesting. Before I started really learning about wine, I drink my wine and not even think about it. But now it's one of the best parts of the wine. Moving on from the Nile Eddy, we have the More Than Muse Pinot Noir. Again, all these are going to be kind of similar, but Pinot Noir does have a range that it can have. So this one, you're not going to get red cherries. You're going to get black cherries and plum. So it's a little bit more, basically more sun. So sun makes that black cherries and plum taste, right? And also you're going to get that plum taste from it being an oak, maybe a little bit longer. This is also a 2019, and it is going to be again, full-bodied and a really long finish, which is great. I'll go into like the foods at the end here because Pinot Noirs are all going to kind of have the same foods, right? The last one, or no, the next one is the Discoveries Pinot Noir. This is a 2018. It's got interesting complexity. So a little bit different than the rest of them. It's got more tannins, which Pinot Noirs are not always huge tannin grapes, right? But this one has big tannins. Again, a very long finish, and it's got earthy notes, right? So the other one we talked about, fruit forward. Well, this one's got earthy notes to it. Earthy notes are going to be, you're going to be tasting the vine. You're going to be tasting where it's grown, right? And then you're still going to get some plum, cherry. This one's going to be a little bit spicier, so you're going to get some pepper and cloves in it, right? And then my favorite part is, I love chocolate, the dark chocolate, right? You're going to get a hint of dark chocolate in there. So I'm going to talk about this food, and then I'm going to go into a little history of the Pinot Noir. So hot dogs, sausages, cheeses, lean meats, lean grilled meats, right? And roasted vegetables. So wines going with roasted vegetables, very, very good. A lot of people wouldn't think that. They'd always think red wines and meats, right? Well, no, roast some vegetables. That'd be good. Duck, mushrooms, and roast chicken. Now, when you get into roast chicken and duck, that's going to be a little bit lighter Pinot Noir. So, and you can tell the difference by just looking at it, how light it is, right? All right. So the exciting part, here we go. Some history on Pinot Noir. First thing is I want you to write this down. There's a movie called Sideways, a very interesting movie, but really, this movie really sparked a lot of conflict with Pinot Noir and Merlot, right? So it's kind of like a competition, right? So check out the movie Sideways. Pinot Noir, they actually call it the King of Burgundy. It's a big grape grown all over the world, right? But there's a lot of controversy on where it actually comes from. They don't know if it actually comes from Italy or if it comes from France. There is some say that the Romans brought it over to France when they came over to try to conquer France, right? And when they came over, they just started planting vineyards or vines everywhere, right? So that's not, of course, France says no, that's not what happened. France had the vine before and started it. So let's see here. So it's from the era before 1 AD. So a very old grape, right? And this grape, it's a thin-skinned grape and requires a lot of sun. But this is the great part about Pinot Noir, is it can be grown anywhere. If it's in really hot heat, it doesn't thrive as much, but it really can be grown anywhere. So I like to say Pinot Noir in Oregon. Oregon makes some great Pinot Noirs. California makes some great Pinot Noirs, and different because you get some that are on the Central Coast where it gets really foggy and cold. And then you get some where it's in like the middle area around Sonoma and Napa Valley where it gets really warm. So you're going to get a lot of different flavors from where it's in the foggy area compared to where it's not, right? So that's a little bit about the Pinot Noir. Really good grape. Again, we have a lot of them. So I don't think I mentioned the Flyer Pinot Noir, which I didn't even know we had that. I think I had to look in the back office, and I think it said it was like a special edition or something. I'm gonna have to. I don't know if Rory's on here, but I don't know if we have that still. I wish I had it because I'm kind of excited about it now. But all right, so the next one is the Grenache, the Discoveries Grenache. So this one is a 2019. It's medium bodied, and I actually did. Let's see, did I do a cooking with this? I think I did the wine and dine with this one. I love this wine. This is a great drinking wine for not only with food, but just sitting on a patio, during the sun, you know, enjoying your outside time, and drinking alone. It's a light wine. It's lighter, so very easy to drink, right? Not a lot of big tannins and stuff. Strawberry, red licorice, clove, nutmeg, and cedar, you know, get all those tastes. So a lot of complexity in there, a lot of different flavors, which is awesome. And I love this part. So the food that it's going to go with is, you can drink it with pizza, right? So pizza, any really type of pizza, but like mushrooms would be great with this. Pizza with mushrooms on it. But any pizza really. So even a spicy pizza would be probably all right with this, because it's not huge acidity. All right, so that's the Grenache. I don't have any like history on the Grenache, but you can call it Garnacha. Garnacha is from Spain. So Spain has the Grenache grape also, but it's Garnacha. All right. So then, you know, one of our favorite wines is the Merlot. So remember how the Pinot Noir was called the King of Burgundy, right? So the Merlot is actually called the Queen of Wines. This is going to have smooth and soft tannins. It's very mellow, very balanced wine. This is going to be a full body with medium to low tannins. And let's see. So they say it's a mid palate weight. So basically it's not going to have everything like hit you really, not strong tannins, not hit you back in the back of the throat. It's going to be balanced, like I said. And then the flavors that you're going to get it, a lot of different flavors. So raspberry, green strawberries. So like not yet ripe strawberries, right? Cherry, and you get a little bit of herbaceousness, so greens, right? And then you're going to get some oak spice, fills out the palate with notes of toasted almond and hazelnut. So that's going to come from the actual, when they're fermenting and let it age in the oak barrel, right? And tobacco. All right, so the history of Merlot. So like I said, it's called the Queen of Wines. It's from 1 AD, and also, again, they say that the Romans brought it over from Italy, right? Not sure if they did. Of course, France always claims all these wines or grapes that we get, but the Romans also say they do that there too. What else about Merlot? Food. Let's go into food here. All right. So food. Merlot, honestly, wide range of food. It's a very good, you can have it with anywhere from chicken, pork, all the way up to a nice steak. Not necessarily a big fatty steak, because it doesn't have those tannins to break through the fat, right? So maybe not like the biggest fatty steak, but a good steak would be good. And then we paired it with chocolate, right? The other day on the Wine and Dine, we paired it with chocolate. So goes very well with chocolate. I love a good dark chocolate, maybe anywhere from like 65 to 72% cacao, right? But yeah, that's Merlot. All right. So the next one of my favorite grapes. This is going to be the Syrah. So we have a Discovery Syrah, and this is going to be a 2016. It is layered and textured with silky tannins. Okay, so not huge tannins like a Cabernet, but it is a smooth tannin, right? Which I love because it balances out nice with the acidity. So this is a dark wine, right? Oh, I'm going to go back to the Merlot real quick. Sorry about that. So Merlot, one thing about the Merlot is it's really known as a mixing wine. So they actually put it in with other wines to calm down the tannins. So you'll find it a lot with like mixed in with a Cabernet Sauvignon, right? So and it doesn't need to be a lot. So you might get like a 94% Cabernet Sauvignon with 6% Merlot, just to calm down that cab, because cabs are a big wine, right? So the Merlot, they mix it with other wines. All right, so back to the Syrah. So the Syrah, dark wine, you're going to get brooding berries with vanilla and spice, cedar, black pepper and spice. And like I said, this Discovery Syrah is actually one of my favorite wines that we have right now, which it's hard to say because we have a lot of good ones. But the food that it's going to go with, Greek food. Greek food, I didn't know what this Greek food was, but it says try some. I wish Peter was on here. I don't know if Rory knows what these are, but it says try some keftedes or domatis with this. I don't know. Google what those are, because I'm not 100% sure what they are, but I do know what Greek food is. I love Greek food, so I will be doing that. All right, so I'm going to go into this next grape, and then I'm going to talk about the history of Syrah, because this next grape has Syrah in it, but it's called the Petite Syrah, right? It's in the same family, but it is not the actual Syrah grape. So we have the Lava Vines Petite Syrah. Again, another one of my favorites. It's a 2014, tight, chewy tannins that fade into the mouth. And it's got a good amount of acidity, so it's going to make your mouth water, right? All right, so the nose has notes of blackberry, tar, and black pepper. I find it amazing where they come with all these different types of flavors, right? It's cool. Earthy notes, black fruit pie, and subtle earthiness. So a lot of different flavors in a Petite Syrah. Now, the history of Syrah and the Petite Syrah. So number one, the Syrah is actually one of the world's most popular grapes out there right now. It's, of course, a red wine grape variety. It is actually the offspring of two ancient varietals from way back when. They don't know actually when it was, and I'll go over that in a second, but it is the offspring of two ancient varietals called, the first one is Dureza, which is a red grape. And then the second one is a Mondeuse. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a white grape. I'll spell those for you. So the red grape is Dureza, Dureza. And the second one is Mondeuse, Mondeuse, right? It's a white grape. And the first planting of Syrah in California was in 1878. And it was actually mistaken for Petite Syrah. And the reason it was mistaken for Petite Syrah is because it's such a, the grapes are bundled so closely together, and they're really small grapes. They're not actually big grapes, right? So very, very tight clumped grapes and very small. So it was actually mistaken for the Petite Syrah. Now, the Petite Syrah is also called Durif, Durif, Durif. But the history the reason they don't really know where this grape came from or how old it is, they say the Romans again. It's always about the Romans, right? Romans and France, but they say it started with the Romans back in somewhere around 1 AD, right? Or maybe a little bit before that, before 1 AD. But they say there is some talk of it might have even been 500 years before that in Greece, right? In the Greek area. So pretty cool. The history of wine is crazy. They say wine goes all the way back. They say it first started out in Jordan, which is crazy to me. Just crazy where all the different history is. So, all right, moving on. I love the Syrah grape. So much history, so much cool stuff to talk about. Now, the next one is, again, another one of my favorites, but this is called the Costa Guerra. I have it right here. I actually have a couple bottles of those, and I just noticed that I forgot a wine on here, which I'll talk at the end. Darn it. All right, the Costa Guerra 2017. This is actually a Grand Cru wine. So very, very smooth. It is called a GSM. So that is Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. Now, Mourvèdre is, a lot of people say Mourvèdre, right? So it ends with a DRE at the end of it, but it's actually pronounced Mourvèdre. And this is a GSM 2017, and it's complex and a sophisticated blend. Now, GSMs can be made all different ways. It just depends on how much of each grape they put into the blend, right? But ours, you're going to get leather aromas and wild strawberries, a full, rich palate, which, like I've told you this before, but when you drink your wine, especially the first drink, get that wine to touch all of your mouth, all the areas of your mouth, right? The back of your mouth, even suck in some air to really open up, oxygenate the wine and get all the flavors, because this one is going to hit every part of your mouth. It's going to be awesome. You're really going to like it. And then this one again, it's going to go really well with some red meats, but I think this one would go really well with some duck and pork. I think would be amazing with this. All right. So moving on. Now we're at a huge grape here. One of the most well-known grapes throughout the world, goes along with Chardonnay. So Chardonnay is kind of the most well-known grape of whites. Well, Cabernet Sauvignon, this one is one of the most well-known grapes of reds, right? And we have a lot of them. Again, a lot of this one. So I'm going to start off with the Antonio. I remember when I first started this, Rory, this is a fun little thing. Rory had a hard time saying this. I hope he's listening, because that's funny. All right, so Antonio Cabernet. We have a 2018 and a 2019, and this is very dry, a very dry wine, elegant tannins and nice balance. So it really is very, very good balance, very smooth wine. Another thing with our wines, the reason we have a lot of smooth wines, because number one, the way they're made, but number two, they're all made to drink relatively earlier than you would normally drink a big bold red wine. So Cabernet, one of the wines that you can age for a very long time. California Cabernets, normally you can age anywhere from like 10, 15, 20 years, right? Once you start getting over into Europe and some of their cabs, man, you can age those for 50 years. I don't know who would ever do that, but you can. So California cabs, you can age for a long time, but ours, they're really made. They've already been aged. Like I said, this is, Antonio, a 2018. So that's 4 years, right? So it's already been aged for 4 years, and it's pretty close to just ready to drink right now, right? You could age it a little bit longer. Not saying you can't. But if you were to drink it now, it really is going to be perfect. So you're going to get blackberry, you're going to get currant, tobacco, and black pepper. So a little bit spicier wine, right? And this one is going to go great with burger and caramelized onions. A little bit more specific there. Ribeye and some sauteed mushrooms. That sounds great. And then you can save some for dessert. It's going to go with grill some peaches up. So you're going to get that smokiness from the grill, right? Peaches and top with a dollop of ricotta, some pistachios and drizzle of honey. So there's a good dessert right there. Peaches. All right. So next, I'll go over the history of Cab here afterwards. Very, very cool history with California and Cab. I'm excited about that. All right, Donna Walker, a newer one that we have. It's a 2019. High acidity, plenty of tannins to give it structure. So now, remember what I was talking about Cab. So the Donna Walker, you definitely could age for quite a few more years. All right. When it says it has high acidity and plenty of tannins or high tannins, that just gives it the extra oomph to age longer. Once you start getting down to kind of like the Merlot, it's a softer wine, not as much tannin, ready to drink right now. But the Cab, it has those tannins, so it can age much, much longer. Remember last week I told you about whites, how they don't really have the tannins. Whites are ready to drink. Chardonnay would be the only one that you would want to age a little bit longer, maybe, but because it does have a few tannins in it. But with the reds, these Cabs have big tannin structures, right? So it's going to be a full-bodied with plum and black cherry, right? So the Cabs are looking more like blackberries, not red berries, but still fruit forward. If you go over to Europe and you get a Cab there, it's going to be more earthy. So the US, we have that warm weather. We have that big fruit palate. We love the fruit, right? So you're going to get the black cherry, you're going to get spice, and the Donna Walker's got a great finish to it. So you're going to get a long finish on it, which is awesome. And then again, when you're talking about Cabs, you're always going to have that red meat, burgers, red meat, big steaks. The tannins, if it's got high tannins, that's going to help it cut through that fattiness of that steak. So me personally, I'm a medium rare type of steak person, and I like the big fatty steaks with no sauce on it, so I can really get the flavor of that steak and that wine together, right? Next, we have the More Than Muse Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a 2017, and actually, I think we might have another year of that. I'll have to check, but there might be another year of that one also. But the More Than Muse Cabernet Sauvignon, high acidity, high tannins again, which again, let it age for a year or two more, or longer if you want. You're still going to get the black pepper and spice. This one, you're going to get a little hint of cocoa and plum also, right? So same though, you're going to get the steak, you're going to get the big red meats, right? Maybe burgers or what do you call those? I forget what they're called. Big chunks of meat. I don't remember what they're called, but yeah, great stuff though. All right, so then we have the Kenneth Jones. I'm going to be very honest, haven't had this one yet. I do have it sitting there, but this one is a medium to full body Cabernet. So this one is definitely ready to drink, sooner than later. It is a 2018. I don't have a whole lot of notes on that one, but we do have that one in our armory, so which is cool. And then we have the Discoveries Cabernet Sauvignon. This one we have two of. We have a 2014 and a 2018, and I just saw that. Okay, so this one is going to be the color. It's going to have a light garnet color. So that's another thing when you're drinking your wine. Look at the color. See what it's giving you, right? It's nearing a ruby color, right? And it's going to have fine grain tannins, and it's definitely that finish line is going to have a long finish. You're going to taste that one for a long time. This is going to be awesome with food. Now, this one's a little bit different. It's got some red fruit, red roses, so a little bit lighter there. Like I said, it's a light garnet, right? And black leather with green banana melds, right? So that banana is going to also come from the warmer weather. Melds with notes of anise, orange rind, black cherry. Wow, slight medicine chest and dried herbs of Provence. So a lot of complexity in this one. Very cool. And then again, for food, all going to be the same pretty much. Cabs you're going to drink with a steak. Now, if you're not a steak eater, oh boy. If you're not a steak eater, let's say you don't eat red meat, I would go with like an eggplant or what's some other good, maybe a portobello mushroom. Okay, yeah. A good grilled portobello mushroom would be good with that. All right, so now the history of Cab. So believe it or not, this is actually a newer grape. So it hasn't been around forever, hasn't been around for like all those other ones I talked about. This one, it is actually a blend of two different grapes. So it is a blend of Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. And this happened back in the 17th century. So a cool little story about Cab. So back in 1976, there was this thing called the Judgment of Paris. All right. And this was a blind tasting where a guy from the UK, actually, he was a distributor. He decided to have a blind tasting in Paris, right? And he went to Paris. He told all these like well-known wine people that he was going to have this blind tasting, and he was going to have basically a special treat for them, right? And he invited America to this, and specifically he invited California Cabs, right? So the California Cabs, oh man, when did they start? It was 18 something. They started planting cabs, right? Well, he invited America. America came and went to this tasting. Well, all the judges were French judges. So of course, France, their big head thinking, we're gonna win this completely. There's no way America's gonna win this. Well, come to find out that America actually swept the whole competition. All the judges picked, remember, it was a blind tasting. They had no clue what they were drinking. They picked every single California cab. So they did the whole blind tasting, which is awesome. So they called that the Judgment of Paris. So that is really when cabs from the US took off. every steakhouse wanted cabs, started selling cabs. It was huge. Excuse me. All right. So little fun story about cabs. All right. Moving on. We have Lava Vines Charbonneau. Okay, Charbonneau, that's kind of a cool name. So this is a 2014. It actually is more of an endangered grape. It's actually on the decline, right? So not as many growers. Matter of fact, I got some great information on that here real quick, but it's an endangered grape. It's got a dark blood red appearance with subtle tannins. So, you know, there is some tannins, but it's not, you know, like a cab, right? And it's got a persistent finish. So the finish is there. It's not going away from you. The flavors that you're going to get out of it, black licorice and smoke on the nose. So when you smell it, you're going to get some black licorice in there. And it's a full rich wine with blueberry. That's the first time I've heard blueberry, plum and cinnamon. So that one sounds delicious. Yeah, I didn't write down any foods with that, but what I would do with that one, it's a smooth. I would go with like a pork. Honestly, you could a wide range of food with this one. Anywhere from a grilled chicken to pork to maybe not like the steaks that we were talking about with the cabs, but because it's not high tannins, but you know, a little bit smaller steak, not as fatty, right? But the history of the Charbonneau. So the first thing I want to tell you is Charbonneau is what the US calls it. In France, they actually call it Bonarda. All right, Bonarda. So Bonarda. So again, another name, kind of like the Syrah and Shiraz for Australia. This one's got a different name there. There are less than 100 acres in California that are planted. All right, so it used to be a pretty big, well-known grape. Now it's not. All right, it's usually one of the last varieties to be harvested. So it actually takes a long time to harvest. They really wait till it ripens fully. All right, so it's one of the last grapes to harvest. So pretty cool. All right, so we have a few more. Oh, and I didn't even say with the cabs, we have another cab. I don't know if we have any more left, but I do for sure. But the gloaming. So the gloaming, it's got what?
All long time gone.
Not in my house.
Well, you're lucky. I think I have 2 bottles too.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you how many I have.
All right, everybody head to Niall's house. All right. So the gloaming. Let me tell you about this wine. Let's see if I can get it real quick. So it looks like this. Yeah. And I'll just let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So on the bottle, it says moonlight and spirit are most perfectly aligned during the short time between sunset and darkness, known as the gloaming. Right? Pretty cool. It says blended for our distinguished guests at Morton's, the Steakhouse, and Ocean Air Seafood Rooms. So what I love about this is our wine club went to Morton's Steakhouse and actually bought all this out and gave it to us. So we were the only ones that could get it, which is pretty freaking awesome. And let me tell you right now, this is an amazing wine. It's a 2014. All right. Sorry, I forgot about that one. I left it down at the bottom of my list. All right.
Do you want to hear the awesome story about that? So our winemaker, one of our winemakers is the one that made that wine. And we were waiting for our wines to be, in the early days of Wine Ambassador, we were waiting for our wines to be done. And he said, hey, I made this wine here. They're going on with a different one, but I haven't shipped this over to them yet. And for some crazy price, astronomical, they wanted to move it, but we had an opportunity to snag it because they hadn't paid an invoice. So we took it all.
Wow.
And it was just an awesome timing thing. So I think we told you guys, like, we scored on that wine. It was a good treat. And you know what? We'll look for those every now and then. But our winemaker made that wine. He was commissioned to make that wine. It's exceptional. It sold for a lot of money there. Very high value wine, and we got it because of an invoice issue, and we just were able to snag it. So
that's amazing.
That's how we got it. Truth be known.
What a great story. I love that. That is awesome. And what I love about that is a lot of, all of our wines, not everybody can get, right? You got to join our wine club. But a lot of people, this was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, was going for like $400 on Morton Steakhouse's menu.
Yeah, we found it on their price list there for $400.
So I don't know about you, but I'm not a bazillionaire, and I would not go to a restaurant and could afford that, right? So now, guess what? I think I have 3 bottles of this, So pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. And I can't wait for like the future and see what else we can get like that. All right, so let's get back to this list here. I'm almost done here. Parables in Red. So the Parables in Red, it's a 2017 soft tannins. Soft tannins, aromas of dark cherry, blackberry, plum, spice, and earthy notes, dark berry flavors. So again, we're going with those black berries, right? Most of our red wines are very fruit forward. A few of them are have a little earthy notes, but this one's going to go. I love this this list of what it can go with. So salmon or other fatty fishes, right? So a blend can go with quite a few different dishes, right? So salmon or other fatty fishes, a roasted chicken or pasta dish, right? Ideal with duck and other game birds, casseroles, and then also like a stew, beef. Yeah, I'm not saying that word. Bourguignon or something. Bourguignon. Any help there? Anybody? Anybody?
Type it out, Sean. I can pronounce it for you.
Bourguig. Oh, you want me to type it in the chat?
Yeah, because I look at this stuff all the time. I'll give it a shot.
What?
Isn't it Bourgeois?
Yeah, you got me.
No.
She's probably close on that.
Renee, do you know?
Is it Bourgeois?
They're beef
Bourguignon.
Bourgeois. Okay, I put an S.
Beef Bourguignon.
Oh,
awesome.
And it tastes amazing. And now you make me. I'm gonna go add that to the list for Tanya to make for me for the next week or so.
I think I made that last year in the wine and dine.
Niall, bring the gloaming to Rory's house, and we'll all meet at Rory's house for beef bourguignon. All right. Okay.
By the way, the Charbonneau, I call it Charbonneau because that's what the winemaker calls it. So you said it's Charbonneau or Charbonneau?
Charbonneau. If the winemaker calls it Charbonneau, it's probably Charbonneau.
He does have a slight accent, but okay. I think I remember because it's like Cher and Bono. Charbonneau.
Nice. I like that. Okay. So I can't believe I forgot this one.
Which one?
Absolutely ridiculous. But the AVP.
Yeah, you know that wine was made by our winemaker as a challenge to beat Opus One.
Yeah, I've actually had it. I'm gonna just tell Rory that I don't have any more, so I might need another bottle of that. Okay, so
that's running really low, and those that you guys, the Grand Cru, you can buy Grand Cru custom boxes in the back, but that is a very special wine, and that wine, if that was retail, would be $700 or more probably right now.
Yeah,
Just
it
so you
is
guys know, it's a
absolutely.
very special wine.
So I wouldn't call that my favorite wine just because you can't really get it. Like it is an amazing wine, but my favorite wines are ones that I can kind of drink all the time, not like I drank that, now it's gone and now I don't have it. So what the heck? All right. The AVP, that's a cab, right?
It's a blend.
Oh, it's a blend. Ooh, what kind of blend?
So I have to break that down. I'm gonna get a bottle. So I think I'm pretty sure there's you know what?
It's got to be like a Cab Merlot or something.
There's Cab, and I'm pretty sure there's a Cabernet in there for sure, and there might be some Syrah. It's a blend, and the thing with blends is if you do them really well, they just bring out the highlights of all those varietals. But it's an explosion of taste in your mouth. Like you can taste so much diversity. There's like 450 different tastes available in a glass of wine.
No, I did not.
450 variables, right? Just so you guys know, it's like so someone says they taste like, man, I taste licorice, or I'm throwing out, Sean, not to deter too much, but those blends really help bring a lot more to light, which is where the value comes in too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So Rory said something really awesome. So you have a cab, right? If you want to mix the Syrah with that, what that Syrah is going to do, the Syrah actually brings out the color, like really gives it a deep, deep color, right? Your Merlot is going to soften the tannins. So that's what I love what he said about that is every wine that you put into a blend does something different. So in the GSM, so you have the Syrah, that's for the color. The Grenache, that is for the flavor. The Grenache is, you're going to get those red fruit flavors, right? The Mourvèdre, I can't remember what the Mourvèdre does. Even the Mourvèdre has something to do with like how that wine tastes. So it's pretty cool. That is why I'm very passionate about wine. It does so much. It's pretty awesome.
My favorite wines, and you didn't talk about favorite wines, the one is where I get a full mouth hit is what I call it. So you taste it, the very front of your tongue, the back of your tongue, the middle of your tongue, and then the outer sides of your mouth. Not all wines do that because the way that they're made, a lot of it's the taste just go to your sensors in the front of your mouth. A true winemaker that's making a proper liquid art knows how to do a full hit so that you enjoy it on every sensory point of your mouth. That's what makes a really good wine to me, and that's what you look for. But just so you know, that's not an easy task to do. You have to understand the grape. You've got to have a lot of practice and in application taste, and you've made a lot of wine. Get that done. It's not something easy to achieve, and you got to know what to nurture and when, and different techniques to bring those highlights up of those flavors. So if I drink a wine and I can taste it the front of my mouth but not the back of my mouth, it's not a favorite instantly because I didn't get to enjoy the full experience that could have been there had it been made by somebody better, right? That's how I judge. I'll make it that it's that simple for me. Then it comes down to obviously the flavor, the talent. But if they blended it properly, and that AVP is a complete mouth hit. It hits every aspect of your mouth. That's why you know it's really good. And then GSM was the same.
Yeah, it actually is amazing. And I actually wrote something down at the bottom of my notes. I didn't scroll down. So it says blends require some guesswork, right? So you're really guessing what's in it. I love doing that. I love drinking a blend and trying to figure out what is in that blend, right? It says, in general, the largest grape by percentage will dictate the character of the wine. So, unless you got a 33%, a lot of blends might do like a 60%, 20 and 20% or something, or, a 50, 30, 20.
Depends on the grape.
Depends on the grape. And the maker who makes it, right?
The liquid artist, as I call them, the liquid artist, that's what, they're going to blend based on what they want to achieve with that wine. And that's why it's, if you have a winemaker that's making good blends, he's been doing it for a long time. He didn't just get into it last year or 5 years ago. You talk to them, they're like, man, they get to know what to expect. And guys, the grapes are different year to year, so they taste them, they do their own things, and they're depicting based on that where it's going to go, and then they make a map. And it's a long journey. It's years of journey to get that nurturing to create that bottle of wine. It's amazing. And the more you dive into that, you're like, oh my gosh, it gets even more complicated.
Oh, it gets crazy.
Wine is not simple, and anybody that tells you it is clearly knows nothing.
That is a true statement. All right, so I'm going to go over a quick little glass thing, and then I got about 10 minutes to answer some questions. So real quick on glasses, there are tons of different types of glasses out there. You do not need to spend a lot of money on glassware. Do not go out there and buy $100 glasses because this one's a red wine glass and it's going to make it be so much better. No, do not do that.
Sean, I don't want to interject too much here, but I'm just gonna guys, you can get very inexpensive crystal glass at TJ Maxx.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, Tanya and I have had the $400 glasses, and we've had the glasses from there. There is a tone difference, you guys. If you get the properly made glass for that wine, it's got a tonation to it. It's like a musical instrument, and those vibrations open up the wine even more. Is it worth it? I think so, yes, as an experience, but for everyday use, that glass will break just as easy as a $2 glass. So it's a fun experience to do. There's places you can go, they're called the caves, and it's inside, and it changes the flavor of the wine. Like you drink it outside, you go in the cave, and it changes the dynamics of the wine. There is a fundamental side to it. It's a very eccentric side to it. But what Sean in general is saying, I'm going to tell you guys, TJ Maxx, Tanya and I can go, and we go get like fine crystal for like $20 for 4 glasses all the time. And you know what? They all break anyway. You're washing them hot temperature, cold temperature. Our wine glasses get a lot of use. Just, you gotta, so just go ahead, Sean. I was going to tell you guys, there is something to it when you're in like a properly made glass. And if you have an opportunity to get it, like at TJ Maxx, and you want to have like us, we have like 20 different types of glasses. That's fine. Just have a place for it. But it's not the end of the world if you don't have it. The great wine is only made a little bit better with that, and you have to understand it to understand it. So that being said, Sean, back to you.
All right. Thanks, Rory. So if you are out shopping for glasses, what you want to look for in a red wine glass is you want to look for the thicker bottom part. All right. So what that's going to do, you'll notice that it's pretty skinny up here, relative, but thicker down here. What that's going to do is that's going to give it more air, right? It's going to be touching more air, oxygenating the wine, and bring out those big, bold flavors that you're looking for. What you shouldn't buy are the ones that are, they just look like this, like they're just straight up, and then basically the bottom is the same as the top. What that's going to do is that's going to let all of the aromas out, right? It's going to make it escape, the aromas escape more. Now, white wines, a little bit different. Still thicker down here, a little bit thicker, right? But not as much, right? White wines don't need to have huge areas that they're getting oxygenated, right? They don't need that, but you still want a little bit different, because what that is going to do is it gets all stuck, the aromas get stuck down at the bottom. So then when you're smelling, you're going to get more in your nose. Then they even have glasses like this. So look at the difference, right? This one, I believe, I bought these a while ago, back when I didn't know better. These are Rydell glasses, Riddle glasses, I think they're called. And they're very good at marketing. All right. So they have a different glass for every single wine out there, right? So you're going to purchase like 100 different wine glasses for each wine. Not necessary. You really only need three types of glasses. You need like a flute, or you could get the champagne one that's I forget what it's called, but it's a little bit wider, right? kind of looks like a margarita glass. And then you need you can have a white wine glass, and then you can have a red wine glass. That's 3 different types of wine glasses. You're good to go, right? Now, like Rory was saying, there is something to, once you start really pulling out the flavors and stuff, you might want to get a different type of wine glass that is actually made for that type of wine, just to start really getting into it. But if you're just drinking the wine to, to enjoy a good, nice bottle of wine, then, you don't need to go spend hundreds of dollars. Ridiculous. All right. I will answer a few questions here, and then we'll move on to whatever Rory's gotten in for us. So go ahead, Joel.
Thank you, Conley. Okay, so 2 things I wanted to mention. Obviously those who know about wine, they know this, but one of the things when you're talking about different wines and the taste they have in those wines, those aren't necessarily in the wines. It's just what our brain describes those tastes as, right? Like I remember a while back when in the Miami event or whatever. I remember Peter kind of explaining, it's the same thing as, in a country that doesn't actually know what the color black is, they may call that purple or yellow because that's what they know it as, right? So I think that's one important thing to mention about these wines is that those flavors aren't really in the wines, but that's what our brain explains it as, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, they don't add licorice, they don't add vanilla, no, they don't add pepper. Right.
The only thing that kind of is whatever those barrels were used for, right? Like that's something when you get the smoky flavors or like the leather, right? And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I think I remember hearing a while ago that there was also an excellent movie about that whole wine competition. Do you remember the name of that movie?
I don't remember the name, but I've watched it. It's a great movie. I'll find it out and I'll put it in the MSI chat and people can get it out to you. I know what you're talking about. I did watch it though. It's on Netflix. All right, Renee, go for it.
Hi, Sean. I understand that California doesn't produce champagnes. I think you guys told me champagnes really come from France, correct?
From the Champagne region of France.
Yep, correct.
The Champagne region. So it's still a part sparkling wine?
Yeah, so I'll help this. There's old world and new world, and they try to protect things, right? And
yeah,
old world, which is Europe. New world is like America, whatever. So the old world, they would name the wines based on the regions where they came from. So Champagne, France created the champagne, and so they kept that name. Anything that's not from that region is sparkling wine. Period. The end. They've won that over, and they will fight you to death and take everything you have to protect it, right? So that's why it's called champagne versus sparkling wine, or and they have other sparklings that they call different things, but it's based on the region there. So that's just an old world versus new world thing. But a lot of people call it champagne when it's really sparkling wine, and that's the distinction, right? There's other things like that, but that's the distinction.
Okay, I have one more question, or to tell somebody that during the Thanksgiving time, when I was in California, it was always wonderful to get champagne grapes. That's got to be coming from California. So that they're sweet and they're tiny, like a pea.
They don't make champagne out of those. They're called champagne grapes. I don't know why they got that name, but they don't make champagne out of those. Those are just good to eat. They're table grapes.
Champagne, yeah, those are table grapes. So there's a difference between table grapes and wine grapes. So champagne grapes are not. It's not a champagne grape. It's either Pinot Noir or Chardonnay.
The sparkling wines.
There's one other one.
Well, there's some very innovative fusionist winemakers that make like a sparkling Merlot or a sparkling Syrah, and I've had some that were like, oh, that's so jammy, and then I've had some that are like, that's really good. And again, it's more of a what do you want to call it? It's more like a party favorite of wines. Like you're not going to see them too often. They're one-offs. I had a blueberry wine. You brought a blueberry earlier, Sean. I had a blueberry wine that was literally made with blueberries and grapes, with an incredible winemaker that had been doing it for a long time, and it was amazing. And then it was gone, and everybody wanted more. He says, "I don't know if I'll ever do that again." So, but and that was the one exception. And it was wine because it was made of the grapes too. You usually don't put blueberries in them, right? But you know, just know that the wine takes on characteristics. And that's why the thing with flavors are so amazing. And Joel, you made a comment, like, here's the thing is you don't know what you don't know. And if you've never tasted it or experienced it before, you're not going to know what it tastes like until it's represented to you. So when somebody can really pick out the flavors, there's somebody that's had a very awesome journey in food and taste and experiences. And that's why wine is so fun, because that's why here's one of the reasons why wine is so magical. You get to relive all sorts of experience based on tying it to a smell or a taste through a bottle of wine. It opens up all sorts of memories of your life. That's why wine is so magical. And that's why we lock in memories based on senses, right? Smell, taste, feel, emotions, and all those get released with a bottle of wine as it retaps into those same things. That's why wine is just magical. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Sean,
Yes.
before we take a break to the next section, or Rory gets busy, or you end this and I don't get a chance, what you did today was fantastic.
Awesome.
And I'm getting unbelievable feedback on it, but so many trigger words. I'm getting awfully thirsty. What time was it?
Time to have some wine. Definitely
Yeah.
is. It's Saturday. Go for it.
Maybe a little longer.
All right. I'm gonna Sharon Wallace will be the last one. So no more hands up after that, please. All right, June, go for it. No, you're muted.
Still?
There you go. Wait.
Am I there?
What is it, baby?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
What is
Having
it?
taken French for 6 years, it's beef bourguignon
Oh, I actually never
Bourguignon.
say it like that.
or
Yeah.
bouffe. Actually, it's bouffe bourguignon. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
The easy way.
Oh.
to
Tony was gonna say the same thing. So all right. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I love it. Beef bourguignon. Bourguignon. Yeah, that
Okay,
makes
move to
sense.
Sharon,
All
and
right.
then let's move on.
All right.
Okay, mine was real quick. The name of the movie was Soma, and there's 3 different versions of them, and you can find them on Hulu.
Ah, beautiful. What is it called again?
Soma, Soma, short for sommelier.
Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Sauvignon. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you.
There's a couple
Soma.
others. There's
Say again?
Bottle Shock. There's a couple others. Bottle Shock and Judgment of Paris.
Yeah, Judgment of Paris, I think, is the one I watched. And Bottle Shock. That is a great one also. Actually, I might have maybe we watched Bottle Shock. I think that's the one we watched. Bottle Shock. Good one. Judgment of Paris too. Okay. Awesome. I am done. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Sean, hey, hold on a section. I'm going to end this. God bless everyone. We'll put this up.